1. Hey everyone, welcome back. You're on the 13th episode of the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. I'm here with Bryce Ellig. My name's Jim Croger, and we got a special guest on tonight. For those of you who don't know, Ant Regabudo, he's an aspiring sports agent. So hopefully after this episode, Clutch Sports will give him a contract, or maybe Scott Boris's team will reach out to him. But Ant, how's it going, brother?
It's going good. Happy to be here, guys. Love what you guys have been doing.
Legend.
Yeah, very big episode. Right now, for all you sports fans, Suns are up 3-2 in the series. Game 6 tonight at the Staples Center. The Clippers are just coming off an insane performance. I mean, Marcus Morris, he had a great performance with dropping 20 points in that one quarter. Reggie Jackson balled out. Boogie Cousins showed up. He turned back the clock and stepped up in Zubac's spot. And Paul George, obviously, with probably, I think, in my opinion, the greatest performance of his career. But that's what I want to get your guys' opinions first. And, Rags, we'll start off with you. You're new to the show. Who do you see winning Game 6 tonight?
So I definitely got the Suns winning tonight. The Clippers have been doing outstanding. I know Ty Lue has been a great coach when they're down 3-1 or when they're down in the series. I think he has the most wins of all time as a coach when they're down in the playoffs. However, I do believe that Devin Booker will shine tonight, and I do believe that the Suns will come out on top.
All right, Ant's got the Suns. Bryce, who do you got? Who you rolling with?
You know me. I'm still rolling with the Suns. I still got them winning the title. I'm very confident. Devin Booker, he's my guy. But a couple other points I want to make. I get the Clippers are hot right now, but I feel like it's just only a matter of time for that team especially. They're going to cool off. I mean, how often can you rely on a guy like Reggie Jackson to score 20 points consistently in a night? You got Marquise Morris, he's scoring 20 in a quarter. That's not going to happen on a daily basis. That's not going to happen game by game. These guys are not all-stars. They're just, solid role players that are playing unbelievable right now. That's running out. Patrick Beverley, we all know, is a liability on the court at all times. He has no offensive game, and his defense, honestly, is shaky for the most part. Boogie Cousins, another thing too. I mean, that was the best game he's played in 3 years. He hasn't been healthy. It's not that I'm not a fan of him. I do like him, but his time is definitely done. And Paul George, we've seen the way he is. He's very shaky. I think he's a great player, and I'm happy he's playing well. But I don't think he stands any chance against a team like the Suns. They're just so well built, and they're so well equipped for games like this. I just feel like even though they had times, we could throw this back to the first round when they went down 2-1 and everyone wrote them off, and they were able to just keep it together and were able to knock off a couple wins and just beat in that series. And I feel like they're kind of in the same position tonight. Everybody knows if Game 7 can only really hurt them. I mean, they don't want to go down. They don't want to tie the series up 3-3, even though they will have home court advantage in Game 7. They don't want that to come down. I also think expect a big game out of Ayton. He's been playing unbelievable, and he's at the end of the day, he's a much better player than
struggled the past 2 days. He has struggled the past 2 games.
Yeah, he has, but
play.
I've got faith he has a big game tonight. They ended off. They don't want a Game 7. Don't give Jay Crowder the ball. Do not let him shoot. Give the ball to Devin Booker. Give it to the guys that are going to score. Expect a big game out of D-Book. They're going to finish him off tonight. 32 points for Devin Booker.
We're not doing Bryce's best tonight. However, Bryce, I got to get your opinion on this one bet that I saw before the game. 2.5 3-pointers over under for Devin Booker.
I'm not a prop bet guy.
Gut reaction.
I usually stay away. People are not going to like this. I'm going to go under.
All right.
Under. He's not, it sounds crazy, but I know he gets hot from 3-point, but he doesn't tend to shoot the 3-point very much. He really only shoots the 3-point ball at max probably 4 or 5 times a game.
Yeah. As a basketball fan, I would love to see this series go Game 7. Both teams have been playing, phenomenal, and especially when you count in the injuries. Chris Paul was out with COVID. Kawhi Leonard's obviously been hurt. Zubac just went down. So for these teams just to keep fighting and keep battling, Paul George's performance was actually unbelievable the other night. And I saw a statistic today actually on First Things First. Do you know I know his numbers haven't been there. I mean, he has 11 games with 25%, field goal percentage, and that's not good at all. But in 18 straight playoff games, Paul George has scored over 20 points. That's not a bad statistic. So he is putting the ball in the basket. Tonight, I think whoever wins this game wins the series. So I don't see that. For me, the Suns cannot lose because the Clippers will have a 2-game win streak going, all the momentum in the world. They have Ty Lue as their coach, like you pointed out. I mean, that is trouble. That's trouble. So I would like to see the Suns win. I think they're the better overall team. And then real quick, before we get into our segment tonight, Giannis going down with that injury. Do you guys see the Hawks winning this series or the Bucks?
I still have the Bucks. As much, you guys know I'm not a huge Giannis fan, but even with him out, I do believe that the Bucks will still prevail. Trae Young's obviously hurt right now, and I just don't know how deep the Hawks really are in these latter games. And I just feel like the Bucks are more seasoned, and they will end up getting there.
Bryce, who you got?
Like a similar kind of thing when it comes to the Hawks, like the Clippers. I mean, you can only rely on guys like Kevin Huerter coming, off the bench or coming in a game scoring 25 points and a half. It's not going to continue. It's just the Hawks. They're a great story and all that. I also found out today, or I saw that Giannis's injury supposedly isn't too bad.
Yep,
he might be able to play in this upcoming game. Also, Chris Middleton's been playing unbelievable. He's an all-star for a reason. Drew Holiday's come out a little bit slow, but I think he'll pick it up. I just think the Hawks are kind of clinging on a little bit. I thought last game was just a really, really weird game, and I don't know. I just don't see the Hawks. I think the Bucks handle the series. I think they win the next two. They win 4-2, and they get ready for the finals.
I definitely see Drew Holiday as being an X factor in the remainder of this series. He has to step it up, as you said, Bryce. He's been playing all right, but for him to be the point guard on the team, and he's got to lead by example, and I do believe that he has to step up in order for the Bucks to prevail in this series and ultimately against the Suns or Clippers, whoever may win that series.
Yeah, no, it's not like Drew Holiday's been, known as being such an offensive force in years past. I mean, he's always been known as being one of the best defensive point guards in this league. But outside of that game 7 in fourth quarter against the Brooklyn Nets, Drew Holiday really hasn't showed up with the ball on the offensive side. You know what I mean? Like, he really hasn't been getting many points. He hasn't really been, facilitating. If Giannis is out for game 5. Game 5. Drew Holiday's got to step up. Chris Middleton, who, he either drops 40 or he drops 20. You know what I mean? Like, he's so inconsistent, but he's got to step up too. I think if Giannis can't play next game and Trae Young does come back, I think the Hawks take that game, and I think that changes the course of the series, honestly. But that's just my prediction. We're going to get into it tonight, guys. We have Rags on to talk trades in the NBA. We're going to look at contracts, see how everything matches up. If you guys have been listening over the past couple of days, there have been rumors swirling that Ben Simmons will be traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves in some sort of a deal. It's going to be centered around these two guys, Ben Simmons and D'Angelo Russell. So first off, before we start and get into any contracts and trade talks, initial reactions. Would you guys do a trade straight up, Ben Simmons for D'Angelo Russell? Yes or no? Whoever wants to go first. Bryce, you go first.
Yeah, you take the floor.
Absolutely not. Okay, just D'Angelo Russell is one of those players, like, he's cool. I've actually seen him play in real life, and, he's a fun and exciting player to watch, but he's not a very good basketball player. Like, he's a horrible team player. He shoots the ball 50 times a game. There's a reason why he's played for 4 different teams. I mean, he was a number 2 pick in the draft and only probably 5 or 6 years ago, and has played for 4 teams in that span. They don't want to keep him, he's one of those players that teams think like they can bring him in and they can change him up a little bit and he could be an all-star type player. He's not. He had that one really good year with the Nets when they were just a bad team and everyone was watching around him. But he's not nearly on Ben Simmons type level, even with Ben Simmons coming off of probably the worst stretch a player could come off of. That would be an absolutely horrible trade, along with the fact that I'm pretty sure that he's probably older than Ben Simmons, which hurts. And I think actually D'Lo might be getting it more at the same, if not more money than Ben Simmons. I think that's a really, really bad trade for the Sixers. The only way I'm calling the Timberwolves for a trade is for Anthony Edwards. And that's it. I mean, period, the end. You do not want D'Angelo Russell on your team shooting 50 shots a game and making 10 of them. I mean, he's not that type of player. He's not a pass-first player, and he's not what the Sixers need. Him and Joel would never work.
No. Yeah, I'm going to totally agree with Bryce there. I would definitely not do straight up D'Angelo Russell for Ben Simmons. As Bryce mentioned, although Simmons is coming off that horrendous playoff performance, I still do believe that he has a lot more value than D'Angelo Russell, especially on our team, for our team. I've never been a believer in D'Angelo Russell. I do still believe that Ben Simmons, if he can manage to create a jump shot and work on that, I do believe that his ceiling is much, much, much higher than D'Angelo Russell's has ever been or ever will be.
It's like Jim. It's like we said before. Even though I know it sounds crazy, and we've been saying it for 4 or 5 years. If Ben Simmons develops a jump shot, he's the next LeBron James. D'Angelo Russell's peaked. He is peaked. I think he's only going downhill from here. I don't see his NBA career. I mean, he might play another 10 years, but I don't see him being a significant player. He's never going to be an all-star again. He's not that kind of player. To give up a guy like Ben Simmons with all that potential for D'Angelo Russell, a guy that could literally destroy this team. I mean, there's a reason why he's played. The biggest point is there's a reason he's played for 4 different teams, being a number 2 pick in the last 5 years. That's an essential point.
All right, yeah. So I was pulling up numbers, listening to you guys. I'm honestly going to have to disagree with you both. I think if the trade is on the table, you have to take it. And I looked at D'Angelo Russell's age. He's heading into he's still 24. He's going to be heading into his, he's only going to be 25 next season.
Wow,
So
I thought he was 27.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2015 by the Lakers with that second pick, but he's only going to be 25. And right now, his contract average is cheaper than Ben Simmons. Not by much in terms, but Ben Simmons' annual average salary is $35 million. D'Angelo Russell's average salary is 29. So right there, you save $6 million. Now, I don't know about you. We don't have that great of a bench. And George Hill is going to be gone, hopefully.
I'm fine with that.
And you never know, either Forkron or Shake could leave, and then you also need another shooting guard off the bench. So you're going to have some money to develop those bench players, because as we saw this playoffs, the second Embiid came off and we brought in our second unit, the level of play dropped drastically. So I know how you guys look at it. Listen, the defense.
Wait, Jim, can I make a quick point? $6 million in the NBA is not going to get you a significant bench player. You know that, and I know that.
I never said significant. It will be better than George Hill or Forkron.
I'm just being honest, though. I don't see us getting a much better player than them. There's guys like Derrick Jones Jr. who's signing $40 million deals. They don't even – Luke Kennard is a $60 million player. He plays 3 minutes a game. It's a point. I mean, you got to. I mean, $6 million.
Yeah, I know. It's a point. All right. Dwight Howard was just signed to a $3 million contract. Was he not an influential piece on our team this year?
Yes, but that's different. He's an aging veteran that no one expected this good of a year out of him. You're not always going to hit on players like that.
Okay. I think Daryl Morey will do a good job of getting a better free agent than George Hill. But anyway, I'm going to continue with my point. Listen, I would sign D'Angelo Russell. The defense would drop off a little bit. But then again, that's why you have Matisse on the bench. Danny Green, in my opinion, I don't know if you go make a play for a power forward or anything like that. We're going to get in that with potential trades a little bit later. If the trade's on the table for D'Angelo Russell, I would take him. He brought the Brooklyn Nets, and that team was awful. I mean, they had guys like Jared Dudley playing significant minutes that year. He brought them to the playoffs. He was an all-star that year. And then that offseason, he signed a massive contract with the Brooklyn Nets and a sign-and-trade deal that sent him to the Warriors. Now, in my opinion, that was just the Golden State Warriors trying to bring in an all-star because they just lost Kevin Durant and they needed to secure the fan base before they went and moved arenas. Then the Minnesota Timberwolves tried an experiment to bring together 2 best friends to play basketball. And honestly, Karl Anthony Towns was out for a long period of time because he suffered COVID, everything going on with his family. And then D'Angelo Russell had an injury too. And those 2 guys really haven't had a chance to gel. I think if you bring D'Angelo Russell over, the shooting on our team would be insane. And yes, the guy throws up a lot of shots, but he's not throwing up shots at a rate like Russell Westbrook is and only making 10 out of 40. You know what I mean? He is making shots, and him in a pick and roll with Embiid is lethal. Okay. You got him and Seth Curry in the backcourt. They're putting up 3-pointers.
I don't think you've watched enough of D'Angelo Russell's game, Jim, being honest with you.
He's really not that
great. He's really not that great of a player, I'm telling you.
Bryce, he hasn't played the last 2 years.
That's not a good point. That's not a good point.
He's been hurt, dude.
That's an even worse point. That's not good. We're getting a guy that's injury prone. Simmons has only been hurt his rookie season, and that's it.
He's healthy now. He was out the majority of the season resting an injury. And listen, Ben Simmons does not shoot the ball. We have a better shot than Ben Simmons. So anybody that we bring in is better than Ben Simmons. You need somebody to score. We saw late in games, Joel Embiid can't do it all. They crowd the paint. Look what happened to the Denver Nuggets. They had no point guard. Joker was a shell of himself. He was doing everything he could. He needed a point guard. You need point guards in this league. Like I brought up to you on the last episode, Bryce, Kemba Walker is an upgrade on the offensive end of the ball than Ben Simmons is. What does Ben Simmons do good on offense that any other point guard can't do in this league?
He's a big body. He can get the
He's a big body. Listen, I have nothing against Ben Simmons. He's an all NBA defensive player, first team defense. But listen, like you said, for the last 4 years, we've been talking about when and if this guy develops a shot. It's not coming. It's not.
Okay, but can I make one more point?
Yeah.
I think Rags will agree with me here. I think trading Ben Simmons, and there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. He's the best defender in the NBA. I don't care what anybody tells me. He's 1,000% the best defender in the NBA, and he's definitely the best defensive point guard in the NBA. Trading him for D'Angelo Russell's offense, which is not even a top – he's not a top offensive point guard in the league compared to other players. He's atrocious on defense. He doesn't play defense whatsoever. That's the reason why he's been traded a lot too. I don't think that trade-off is very fair. Like I don't think it's fair to the Sixers.
Okay, and I understand that, but how valuable was Ben Simmons all NBA defense in the final 3 minutes of every single game against the Atlanta Hawks series? My man Ben wasn't even on the court, and I'm not trying to argue. His defense is undeniable. He's an awesome defender, but he wasn't on the court. We need a point guard on the court. We had George Hill bringing up the ball. George Hill is almost 40 years old.
Yeah, that can't happen.
Yeah, no, George Hill should never touch the court ever again for the Sixers.
And me being as a Sixers fan, I like Ben Simmons better than D'Angelo Russell. I do. But D'Angelo Russell is a better offensive player than Ben Simmons. And he would stretch out the floor more, and he would take off, not all, but he would take off some pressure on Joel Embiid by being able to shoot the three-pointer.
I just think we could get a guy like Kemba Walker and for a pick, and OKC will literally eat half of his deal because they just don't care at all about money.
And then keep Ben Simmons?
And keep Ben Simmons, yeah. I think we literally give up a pick and probably Furcan for Kemba Walker. I know that sounds crazy, but the OKC is openly saying Sam Presti, the GM, is openly saying we do not want Kemba Walker. We will trade him for literally anything.
In my opinion, I would like Kemba Walker too. We talked about this, cardiac Kemba. But you got to look at his injury history this year too. I mean, this guy has not stayed healthy either.
It could be a low risk, high reward type move, though.
Okay. But, guys, we saw that series. We were playing with 4 men on the court when we would dribble up the ball. So if you do move Ben Simmons to power forward, how does that help out Joel Embiid? Bryce, I got to get your take. Would you –
Definitely. See, my problem with D'Angelo Russell is it's just hard to envision a big three in Joel Harris, so to say, and then D'Angelo Russell. I just don't see that big three going further than we went this year. But as far as you're talking about Simmons at the 4, how's that going to help out Ben? How's that going to help out Joel? I do totally agree with you there. I mean, there's going to be no spacing on the floor. I think
it's going to make it worse.
I agree that I don't know. I like Ben at the point guard. I like him at the point. But if he's going to get traded to another team, I saw the Warriors he was in talks with possibly.
Let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about that. How would that work? Wait, I don't even see would we get Wiggins? How would that deal?
Yeah, I was gonna say I have no idea what we would get.
I think what I did hear. I did hear that they are trying to unload Klay Thompson's contract and bring him to Philly.
I heard something about us getting Steph and Klay for Ben. I'm not sure. It might have been Woj. I don't know if he dropped the bomb. I don't know.
We trade Simmons and Matisse or something like that. I think that's what the deal. Maybe a pick we throw in there. Honestly, though, who would you guys see? The Warriors keep coming up because they want Simmons.
Right. That's the thing. I saw that they keep coming up because, obviously that'd be great for Steph and Klay, just him dishing the ball out, and he'd have to play a different position. Obviously, he's not going to play the point. He's have to play the 4. But what are we going to get in return? Wiseman or Wiggins? What are we getting?
If we get Wiggins, I'm not watching a game this season.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm not watching.
Wiggins,
you can quote me now. Andrew Wiggins is so bad at basketball. I will never watch him play. For the Sixers, I would turn. I would close the book on that.
Guys, I'm in the same boat with you. I was thinking about the deal, and I'm like, listen, they cannot trade it for Andrew Wiggins, but I am thinking that they might be trying to do this. The Wiseman experiment has only been 1 year, but it's not like he lit the world on fire and was playing lights out. Expecting to be that number 1 pick that the Warriors wanted to come in and just start performing.
Sure.
Could you do this? For those of you who remember when Embiid was out, Doc Rivers put Ben Simmons at the 5 and was kind of like a small center. And my man, Ben Simmons, excelled. He dropped 42 points against Rudy Gobert. Now, I think what the Warriors might try to do is like a 3-team trade, dish out Wiseman to somebody else, try to get Ben Simmons to run that 5. Imagine him at center being able to run that offense and have 2 shooters. Now that I'm for.
I think he's a position change away from reaching his ceiling potentially. I do.
Let's be honest.
He needs to move. I know even the 4s nowadays, like, you see they're shooting all over the floor.
4s are they're stretched. They can stretch the court out. I mean, Ben Simmons, he can't shoot 3-pointers and he can't shoot from the free throw line. All he can do is dunk, and he can barely, he's a center.
Right.
Bryce, do you see that trade happening? Like the Warriors, like
I don't know. All I know is that I saw Andrew Wiggins with 1 minute left in that play-in game shoot a shot, and it hit the other side of the backboard. If we trade for him, I'm logging off. I will not. The Sixers won't even be an afterthought. But I could see them. I think they're giving up on. I think if they would trade Wiseman, they're giving up on him way too early. He showed a lot of potential in a lot of games. He also got injured about halfway through the season, was out. He's definitely a great player, I think, and he's got potential to be a really, really he's a good player. I think he's got potential to be a great player. I think you also got to think, though, it's tough to shine when you got a guy like Steph Curry on your team, especially as a rookie. Like LaMelo Ball, he shined, and Anthony Edwards shined because they were the main guys scoring on their team. Like they were, and they human highlight reels, whatever this that. Wiseman's still a center. Even his highlights aren't going to be freakish. He had a solid season if you look at the stats. He's definitely got to work on his foul issue. I saw like throughout the beginning of the season, he would have 3 fouls in like the first quarter. He's got a limit on that, but he's definitely got a lot of potential. And I don't see the Warriors giving up on him after a year unless they could really get a solid piece. I guess you're right. I guess they'd be willing to trade him for Ben Simmons, but I don't think they're really looking to trade him. I think the trade would have to come to them.
Yeah.
Now, it would be. I don't see Wiggins, like you said, even off of positioning on our team, because it's not like Wiggins is that good of a small forward to move Tobias back to the 4. No. Because as we remember, Tobias Harris wasn't that good at power forward. When we had Jimmy Butler.
Good so where he's at right now.
His position is small forward, especially in Doc Rivers' scheme. He's a small forward. The Warriors, if there was an organization to get traded to, and I'm Ben Simmons, Golden State would be where I want to be, because the expectations, like you guys said, would be lowered because you have guys like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and even Draymond Green, who are all better than Simmons. They all have, more rings, more popularity. It's just
they're way more accomplished. Yeah,
they're way more accomplished. That's the word I was looking for than Ben Simmons is. So when Ben could just come in there, they'll just tell Ben, listen, we're kind of weak on defense. You be the all NBA defender that you are, right, and we'll focus on scoring the points. And I think you just see the burden on Ben's shoulders just fall off, and he could just play his style of basketball.
Play way more relaxed, exactly. Yep, he can just dish out the ball, just get rebounds, and just play defense, and just let the other guys shoot, and just worry about that.
Just be a better version of like a Rudy Gobert, honestly.
Right.
Like just be an athletic center.
Yeah.
I think the only way a trade like that happens, I just want to make a quick point, is that I've always kind of thought this. If Kawhi is to leave, I think people say the Heat. I think I could easily see him playing for Golden State. So I think we got to wait for possibly free agency to happen. I'm just saying that's a move you got to think about. If Kawhi leaves, I could see him going to the Golden State Warriors, and they boom, see ya.
Scary team.
They have a lot of money. And I mean, they worked that Kevin Durant deal. And I don't know how it would work if you bring on a contract like Ben Simmons, but could you imagine a starting lineup of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Draymond Green, and Ben Simmons?
I'm not losing.
That is, I know.
I'm not watching.
You know what I mean? Like, I know it won't happen, but could you imagine that kind of lineup? That's defensively, that's very good, because I don't know what Klay.
Imagine defensively alone.
That's a step up from the Kevin Durant and when they had like the end of DeMarcus Cousins type thing. That's a step up.
I don't know with Klay Thompson's health how much he'll come back of himself. Like
he can still shoot. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I was talking defensively. Yeah. I don't know. Like he's come back 80% of himself, 85. I don't know what because he's been out for 2 years now.
Yeah.
But Draymond Green's still a very good defender. We all know how Kawhi is at defending, and Ben Simmons. That'd be a good team.
Yeah, those 4 defending would
It'd be the other team would average like 85 points.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be like back in the 80s. They would not be scoring.
But to go off that, whether it's Ben Simmons or not, or Kawhi Leonard, I do see the Golden State Warriors making a significant move this offseason, because you're on the back end of this big three. You know,
you got this is the end. I mean, we all love Steph and everything, but I mean, he's not going to be the player he is now 4 or 5 years down the road.
Bryce, I mean, we've talked
about that pace.
Yeah, I mean, how old is he right now? He's 33?
33
or 34, yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's definitely on the back end of his career.
And he's got 2 years left of this contract that he signed, correct?
Right.
Yes.
So in these next 2 years, in my opinion, you have to win, or I could see Steph Curry getting up and saying, like, I got to go win a ring before I'm out of here, before my time's up.
Yeah, no, they'll get it. Listen.
Whoa, is this a bold prediction coming?
No, I just
I felt it.
They've got a great front office. They'll make the moves. They'll get them there.
Bob Myers knows what to do.
Yeah, Bob Myers is fantastic.
People want to play people love Steve Kerr. People want to play there. They'll get players. They're going to get a significantly big player, an all-star, superstar type player to play, and they will be getting rid of Andrew Wiggins. I guarantee you that.
I don't want to get into anything too much because it looks like we're running out of time, but we'll do one more segment. Trying to think. I will just get into it right now. I saw a trade on Twitter before we came on tonight, and it was the Miami Heat, and they called the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Bryce, we talked about this on previous episodes. This honestly is the trade I would make. Scratch D'Angelo Russell. Scratch going to Golden State. Lakers, no, none of that. The trade that I would make is call up the Cavaliers, work a deal centered around Ben Simmons, whether it's a couple picks or a couple of our role players, bring Colin Sexton and Kevin Love to Philadelphia. Would you guys do that?
Absolutely.
Definitely. I like Colin Sexton a lot. I think he would definitely help out our team. And also having Kevin Love, he's obviously very experienced. He's won a championship. He has that winning culture mindset. I would definitely take that trade.
Yeah, because I saw the Heat right now. They're trying to – what they're offering doesn't seem that much, but I saw a deal centered around Tyler Hero, Kelly Olynyk, and Andre Iguodala, and maybe like a pick for Sexton and Love. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Ben Simmons is more valuable than all those pieces, in my opinion, on a Cleveland Cavalier team.
You just named me 3 bad players.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll take Ben Simmons over all of them.
Listen, we all love Iggy, but he's like 47 years old.
Exactly. So
Hero, that was his
Hero's one-hit wonder. Yeah, he ain't that.
Bubble boy.
Yeah.
And Ben gets that fresh start in Cleveland. I don't know, like, guys, do you think Colin Sexton's better than Ben Simmons on offense? He is. He showed that this year.
I'm not going to slander Colin Sexton. I think he's really good. I'd be okay with Colin Sexton.
I think an even bigger part is, and I've always started to cut you off, right? It's a bigger part. I've always said this. I always thought Kevin Love, I've been saying it for the last 2 years, would be like the perfect thing this team needs. He would be the perfect power forward for this team to need. Perfect spacing. The guy can hit threes. He knows who the superstar is. He's not, he'll score 15 points a game. He's a solid rebounder. He's a solid defender. We saw what he did against Steph on that last shot. People forget. Right. But, he's a good player. He wins. He's had a lot of success in the league. Yes, he tends to get hurt, but, we just got to hope he doesn't get injured. And I think that's the trade. That trade makes this team way, way, way more dangerous.
Definitely. To me, Bryce is 100% right. He's had a winning resume, and playing with LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, all those years in Cleveland, he's definitely developed, a lot of experience that he could bring to Philadelphia and show. It's not like they're young anymore. But for some reason, these guys still can't get over that hump, that second round, and it comes down to late in games. And you gotta have a coach on the court too. And Bryce, your boy Danny Green wasn't there, so Danny Green was kind of that on the court when Dwight Howard would be in the locker room. He was helping out the players with shooting after work, or all that kind of. You bring a guy like Kevin Love in, he'll show these guys the ropes, and late in games, that experience will definitely kick in and help this team, I think, get over the hump. I'm not saying he's not half of what he was, but you bring guys in like Sexton and Love with Tobias, Seth, and Embiid. Overall, I think that makes us a more experienced, better offensive group.
Definitely. I believe that Kevin Love would be a tremendous asset to our team. And like my main point was what you guys both said about how he knows the superstar role. He obviously played with LeBron James, one of the greatest players of all time. So obviously, he can step aside for Embiid, let him do his thing, and also just facilitate the offense, space the floor. I definitely see him being a great fit in Philly.
He knows what it's like to sorry, Rex. I thought he knows what it's like to be that Chris Bosh option, that third option. To know, hey, when the ball's, there's 30 seconds left, we need a shot. Unless I'm wide open in the corner, I'll shoot it. But I'm setting picks. I'm trying to get Joel. I'm trying to get Tobias the ball. He knows, he wants to win. He's at the point of his career. He's got probably 2-3 more seasons left of solid above average basketball. And he's done. The guy's got gray hair. So, he's running out of time.
Yeah, time's ticking.
Father time has knocked on the door numerous times for him, but you could just tell by his demeanor when he was playing with the Cavaliers, especially this season. Did you guys ever see that video where he just threw the ball?
Yes.
He was done.
He's a legend for that.
He threw the ball, didn't even protect, just gave him a bucket. If that doesn't show that he wants to get out of Cleveland so bad, I mean, my man mentally and physically has been out of Cleveland ever since LeBron James has left. And, who wouldn't be? I mean, there was nobody left on that team. So you get a newfound energy. You come to Philadelphia, a couple young guys, not to say that we have a winning culture because we haven't won anything yet, but a team ready to win. And it gives Ben Simmons a fresh start.
I was going to say it'd also be good for Ben Simmons. The expectations in Cleveland are obviously going to be very low. No one's even going to know about him out there. He's just going to be able to play his own game. There's going to be nobody in the stands to even crucify him. So
it'll be like playing with LSU again. No bunch of nobodies, and then you just playing.
Yeah. Joakim Noah said it the best 10 years ago. Who wants to play in Cleveland? Nobody wants to play in Cleveland.
It's a death sentence.
Yeah. Colin Sexton and Kevin Love would gladly play in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's the thing. Colin Sexton is just rotting over there. He's got to, expand his horizons, come to a winning culture, hopefully.
Well, if I'm Daryl Morey, I'm getting on the phone after hearing that Miami Heat trade offer. You cannot let Miami Heat get their hands on Sexton and Love.
Absolutely not.
The Heat with Spoelstra, Pat Riley, their organizational structure, and you got that dog and Jimmy Butler. They put themselves right at the top of the East again, in my opinion.
No doubt.
They do. Doubt. What did you go ahead, Bryce?
No doubt. I agree with you. And I'm not a Heat guy, but that especially, that team would be very scary.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. Part 1 of the episode 13 of Brothers of Broad Street podcast. We're going to get on the next segment for a little bit, talk some more trades. Bryce, thank you. Rags, thank you for coming on. Will you be with us for the next episode?
I will be. Thank you guys very much.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. If you guys want to follow us at the Brothers of Broad Street, we're on Instagram, literally any social media platform. And also, if you guys want to reach out and come onto the show, we are more than welcome to have you guys on. We'll talk about literally any sport besides soccer.
Yeah.
So literally, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next show.